प्रोग्राम खबर के पीछे मैं हूं फवाद चौधरी न्यू नेटवर्क के ऊपर। हमेशा की तरह पहले देखेंगे आज की हेडलाइंस और फिर चलेंगे उन खबरों के पीछे। आज की हेडलाइंस।
पनामा पेपर्स की कहानी वहीं से शुरू करेंगे जहां से छोड़ी थी। हमारे साथ होंगी जूलियट गारसाइड, द गार्डियन की नामवर सहाफी, जिन्होंने सबसे पहले पोल खोला। क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना, अपोजिशन ने सर जोड़ लिए। उसामा बिन लादेन की हलाकत, 5 साल बीत गए, दहशतगर्दी और मसाइल जूं के तूं।
पनामा पेपर्स के हवाले से पाकिस्तान में जो मामला उभरा है अभी तक वो कहीं सेटल होने का नाम नहीं ले रहा। पिछले प्रोग्राम में हमने बड़ी तफसील से आपको मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की वो कहानी बताई थी जो कि जुड़ी हुई है नवाज शरीफ साहब के खानदान के साथ, और वो तमाम बातें जो 1998 तक किस तरह से ये रुपए पैसे यहां से ट्रांसफर किए गए, क्या कहानी की गई, हमने बड़ी तफसील से आपको बताया। आज के प्रोग्राम में हमारी खुशकिस्मती है कि हमें जूलियट गारसाइड ज्वाइन करेंगी। गार्डियन की बिजनेस रिपोर्टर है और इस वक्त दुनिया में वो चंद नाम जिन्होंने पनामा पेपर्स के हवाले से और बिजनेस के कॉर्पोरेट हवाले से एक बड़ा नाम समझा जाता है दुनिया की सहाफत में। जूलियट गारसाइड उनमें से एक है, गार्डियन के साथ वाबस्ता है, और ये कहानी जो नवाज शरीफ साहब की प्रॉपर्टीज के हवाले से है, उनकी फैमिली की प्रॉपर्टीज के हवाले से है, उसको सबसे पहले ब्रेक जूलियट गारसाइड ने ही किया था। वो हमारे साथ लंदन से जुड़ी हुई है स्काइप के ऊपर, सीधा उनके पास ही चलते हैं। जूलियट, थैंक यू so much for joining us. In Pakistan, the Panama Papers is a big story, and especially the story you quoted about the properties of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's family is obviously one of the biggest stories of this year. Primarily, I just want to refer to your story first, and then I will come to the question. In your story, you wrote, in October 2008, Nawaz Sharif's son Hussein and daughter Maryam turned to the Swiss arm of Deutsche Bank to borrow large sums using the flats as collateral. Three British Virgin Islands companies were used to raise the loan, which entitled Nawaz Sharif's adult children to borrow £3.5 million in cash and a further £3.5 million money to be invested in liquid assets by Deutsche Bank. The Prime Minister's daughter Maryam Nawaz Sharif and his son has claimed that Maryam has claimed that she did not own any property in Pakistan or abroad. How will you substantiate your claim?
Well, we can only go by the documents that we've seen from the database of the Panama law firm Mossack Fonseca. And in these papers, we can see that the loan agreements were signed by two people. The loan agreements with Deutsche Bank were signed by Maryam Nawaz Sharif and also by Hussein Sharif. Furthermore, while the signatures on those loan documents do not necessarily indicate that she owned London properties at that time, we know that the London properties were owned by two companies, Nesco Limited and Nielsen, and we have a letter signed by Maryam. It was signed in 2006. We've posted it on our website, and it states that she was the sole shareholder of Nesco Limited, which owned two of the 4 Park Lane flats. Now, this letter was dated 7th of February 2006. I'm looking at it on our website now, and it's signed by her. So, at least at that point, it does appear she was the sole shareholder of two of the flats.
Okay, Juliet, there's a conflict in your stories and the claim of the Prime Minister Nawaz family. Your story suggests that properties were bought in between 1993 and 1996, whereas the family says that these properties, these offshore companies and the money trail they want to prove is after 2005. But in your story, you said that the properties were bought between 1993 and 1996. Can you please dilate upon that?
Sure. Well, in the UK we have a land registry, and anyone can look it up. You can look it up from Pakistan, And if you look up the addresses, 16 and 17 Avonfield House in London, you'll find on the land registry that these properties were bought by two companies, Nesco Limited and Nielsen, between 1993 and 1996.
Okay, and do you think that there will be these companies were owned by the same people even before in 1993 and 96, but probably it was owned by someone else?
It's a very good point, and we don't have any proof that they were owned by Nawaz Sharif or by his family at that point, but we do have claims by Rehman Malik, who was investigating the family from, I think, around 1998, so not long after 1996. We have claims from him in 1998 that those properties at that time belonged to Nawaz Sharif. So we do think it's unlikely that they were owned by anyone else before that.
Juliet, since you are a business reporter and I know this is like your own field, the Rehman Malik report claims or suggests that the properties before going to this Mosaic Fonesca were owned by a Swiss company which was a fiduciary of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So now there's a commission in Pakistan. If a judicial commission comes up and they want to investigate these documents, can they obtain the Swiss documents and then these Mosaic Fonesca documents?
Well, I think there's a slight confusion in what you're saying. Mossack Fonseca was just acted as registered agent for the company, so it didn't perform trust services or anything like that. And it was acting as registered agent and handling the paperwork from 2006. And possibly, I don't know who did before that. I think it was another BVI company. Now, they may have used fiduciary services in Switzerland to help control that BVI company, but Mossack Fonseca was acting as registered agent for two companies incorporated in the BVI, Nesco and Nielsen. And so whoever was the BVI registered agent before that should be the person that the inquiry addresses themselves to.
Interesting. Okay, you wrote that under the arrangement with Deutsche, Nesco and Nielsen were allowed to borrow up to pound 1.75 million each, and the third British Virgin Island company not represented by Mosaic Fonesca called Kumber Group, another pound 3.5 million. Papers of Kumber were signed by Mariam and Hussain Nawaz Sharif in June 2007. So does this mean that in addition to the Nesco and Nielsen, Mariam Nawaz and Hussain Nawaz are directors in another offshore company which has no link with the Mosaic Fonesca?
Yeah, I don't know what their position would have been, directors, shareholders, we don't know, but they had signing powers. And yes, there is a third BVI company not represented by Mossack Fonseca.
Called Kumber Group.
Kumber Group, yeah.
This is also a British Virgin Island company?
It is also a British Virgin Island company.
Interesting. You hope that investments in sugar and iron business in the 1980s have made the Sharifs one of the wealthiest families in South Asia. Do you have anything to substantiate that claim?
Well, I think it's pretty well known, isn't it, that the Sharifs are one of the wealthiest families in South Asia. I mean, people have been reporting this for 2 decades.
True. You know that Park Lane flats were bought between 93 and 96, but the companies behind them were not transferred to Mosaic Fonesca until 2006. I really want to understand this statement that before 2006, these apartments were owned by companies. Those were not managed by Mosaic Fonesca and by someone else. I just want clarification of this.
No, they weren't owned. Mossack Fonseca doesn't own the company.
Okay.
It acts as a registered agent. So if I want to set up an offshore company, if I'm Nawaz Sharif and I want to set up an offshore company, I can't just go to the BVI and set it up. I need to go through an intermediary, which is a registered agent. And so that agent is licensed by the British Virgin Islands to incorporate and act for offshore companies. And there are other ones like Morgan & Morgan is a big offshore agent, Trident Trust Company. many of them are licensed to operate in the BVI. So it's like changing lawyer. They had Mossack Fonseca as their agent from 2006, and before that it was someone else.
So, is there any possibility that the directors or the shareholders were changed from time to time, and from 93 onward to 2006?
Well, if we believe Rehman Malik, Nawaz Sharif was the original owner of these companies. I have no proof of that. But his children would have been quite young in 1993 to buy properties in Park Lane. I don't know how old Mariam is now, but remember, this is nearly 20 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
More than 20 years ago. So, and Mariam may no longer be a shareholder in these BVI companies now. From what I understand, this would be politically awkward, given that she's resident in Pakistan and hoping and has political ambitions in Pakistan. And I do notice the family's use of the present tense when they deny that she has ownership of properties in the UK. But these papers would seem to suggest that she did it in the past. And the chain of events would seem to suggest that Nawaz Sharif held those properties when they were originally bought. But I cannot prove this. I just wonder what he would say to that.
Okay, we are obviously in a case in Pakistan. People are interested to know two things: that how Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif basically took that money to British Virgin Island or to the UK, and secondly is that he has declared that money or not. Now, the first question, we know that he has not declared that money, and the money we have found that money in the shape of properties in London. So what will be your advice to the Judicial Commission? What are the 2-3 points through which they can you can track down how this money has gone out, since you have experience in reporting all this? How basically the Commission can ascertain that the money that was shifted to UK is legal or basically laundered?
Well, of course, owning property in London isn't illegal. There may be tax issues if it was supposed to be declared and wasn't. The way to track down the ownership from when the properties were bought is to find out which agent represented Nespel and Nielsen before Mossack Fonseca. So between 1993 and 2006, which agent represented them? They could then make a formal request for information on the beneficial owner of Nespel and Nielsen when they were incorporated, and between then and 2006. And they should also be talking to Deutsche Bank, who I'm sure would be cooperative and have made very loud statements about improving due diligence and avoiding money laundering.
And how, if they want to get something from the Swiss authorities, will they be under the Swiss laws? Can they approach the Swiss authorities as well?
I think it's harder, but Switzerland is currently investigating law firms who acted for Mossack Fonseca clients. So the prosecutor, the chief prosecutor in Geneva, is currently investigating Swiss law firms linked to this affair, and I'm sure they would welcome an approach from the Pakistan authorities regarding this matter.